Steven Weissman, man, I'm a huge fan of your comics.
Same, Dennis. Thank you very much.
You're a fan of my comics?
I'm just thrilled to be here on your TV show.
And we'll talk about your comics in a minute, but as you know from the previous video, I have a record that doesn't exist.
I made that record.
It's a Tykes 25, yes, and it actually has not your band on it, but it has what on it, Steven? Tell me.
I knew, like, when I saw the video that you played, like, you started the record, I immediately knew it was Boogie Oogie Oogie.
Do you have a bunch of them? Did you make a lot of those?
We made, I think, hundreds. So it was a fair amount.
Wow.
I think the first thing that happened with that was the format of the comic. Switching from that sort of standard 7 by 10 inch.
And yours were an unusual shape. They were square.
Yeah, that was the point. Yeah, I was sharing a studio with my friend Matt Stromberg, who I still work with today for stickers, and we're still pals.
Stinkers,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
Stinkers.
And we shared a studio in downtown San Francisco, and we were talking about like different shapes that we could do. And I'm sure we kicked a few around, and I think it might have been his suggestion to make it square. And I know like almost immediately, it was apparent that it should be 7 inches like the records, because then we could sell them in record stores. And he probably suggested like, you should put a record in it. I didn't have a band. I had seen like flexi discs in comics before, but it wasn't like that idea never even occurred to me. It was.
You could also use 7-inch mailers for them, so that's another plus.
Yeah, I had friends who were record buyers at local record shops. So my friend Josh, who worked, I forget what the place was on Haight Street. Mm-hmm. Something he said that. People bring in boxes full of records to sell.
Right.
And usually, he can only buy, say, 5 or 10 records in someone's box, and they're like, well, I'm just going to leave the rest with you. So for a couple months, I think he just kept a stack of unsellable 45s, or at least unsellable on Haight Street in the 1990s.
Yep.
And those were the ones he mostly gave to me. So he gave me like a couple hundred easy.
And so you made labels for them. You said we'll make what, as like an art object kind of thing?
Yeah. We and that's what I found these labels. I still have a box full of them.
Whoa.
These labels.
Mean chubby cheeks.
Yeah, that's
recorded by Grandpa.
That was the B-side, right?
I love Grandpa's recordings.
Yeah.
And so, did you think that people would think it was real and not really listen to it? Or did you expect people to listen to it and be surprised at the contents? Or what were you thinking?
I was aware that some people would listen to it. And I thought it would be fun, for the people that found it to have the experience that you had where you put on a record and were like...
wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's Boogie Oogie Oogie.
You're like, this guy's he's a better musician than he is an artist.
I know. At a minute, there was a moment where I was like, whoa.
What is this guy doing?
It's like a retro funk thing. Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, I know this song. A really neat way to discover it.
Because you went looking for more of them online and weren't able to find them, right?
I couldn't find anybody talking about it, which I thought that if there were hundreds, that at least somebody would mention that it occurred, or someone would be selling one at some point, or would have sold one. But I can't see that anywhere.
Yeah, at the time I got letters from people, because, this is sort of early email, so, a lot of people were actually just still writing letters saying, I got your record. They wouldn't get the joke. They'd say, like, I had no idea that you were a musician, or whatever, or you're kind of crazy, like, this music doesn't fit the style of the cartooning.
And you were like, dude, that's Boogie Oogie Oogie, or I don't even know what that is, but it's not.
They were all different records, and what was kind of, the whole project ended up being so much fun because my record store friends came over and we had like listening parties after when we were putting them together because some of the records looked really interesting too. So they
Right.
old kind of Western records and novelty
neat.
records. There were
Oh, you've got them there.
yeah, I pulled them out.
Did you just do this for Tykes #1, or did
Yeah,
you do it for a bunch of them?
This was enough for one project.
Okay.
It took a lot of time and it was really fun. And then at the same time, like I was saying, it ended up being kind of culturally interesting to find records that I'd never heard of. Like I like music
Right.
and I had record players and stuff, but this went like deeper than my knowledge of music. And we found like some of these records, like this one, you can see on the MB label, which was a 50s San Francisco.
Nick Alexander, Conestoga Wagons.
Yeah.
I used to hear my grandpa tell of how it came about. All the hustle and the bustle on the day they started out. With a wagon train a-creaking and their spirits riding high. And the clouds above like Conestoga wagons.
Is that a Western song?
It's a Western.
Like a cowboy song?
It's like a cowboy song, exactly.
Neat.
And this song, Conestoga Wagons, and I got several on this label, and these were the ones, we kept all of these. And
Tin Stars would love that.
yeah, exactly. We
Yes.
we ended up putting out a cassette tape that we sold for like almost no money at the time, just to for people who like the comics. We sold cassettes of the records that we didn't paste over, of the records that were too good to get rid of.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like
Neat.
this and a few other ones.
Do you have the cassette?
I
Do
don't
you
have the
a copy of
cassette anymore. But I
Did you do a cover, a custom cover for it, like with your characters?
no. I did do a custom cover, but what the cover was just the label from the Tykes label.
Oh, cool.
And then we got. Do you know the cartoonist Sam Henderson?
Yes, I know him. Magic Whistle.
Yeah, Magic Whistle wrote the liner notes for the cassette, kind of in that old liner note style where they were like would kind of at
Like an essay about the jazz artist or
it
whatever?
would be an essay about like I think it was about the project and the comic, but then he incorporated all the songs, the song titles that we included on the cassette in his liner notes. They
Yeah.
were really funny. I wish I did have a copy of that cassette because it was really funny. But one of these cassettes ended up in the hands of the musicologist Phil Milstein, I think his name was, who
Phil Milstein?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he put out like he's done like a lot of really interesting projects. But years later, I got a CD in the mail with I think it had Conestoga Wagons on it that he had gotten from the cassette, which had come from the record store, because it was co-written by the guy Norvus.
I don't know who Norvus is, but I want to know who it is.
There you go. That's like, and I didn't know who he was either. He's like a novelty. He wrote Transfusion and a bunch of other like kind of novelty
cool.
songs in the 50s or 60s. It's not like
If I can find links, I'll put them up here so people can check them out.
yeah, go for it. It's really funny stuff, but it's like not exactly to my taste. I like Conestoga Wagons the best. But apparently he co-wrote that song, and so it was part of the project. So all of this kind of like it found its way into like a lot of different aspects of music and comics and people being confused, which was fun.
It's funny because it did make a little impact, but not enough for the internet to know about it, apparently.
Wrong time, I think for the internet.
Which is kind of cool, actually. It's neat that some things remain mysterious. So, your comics, and now you're doing these almost political, really weird comics, right? You did a Barack Hussein Obama, I mean, this was years ago, but you did a blog, and then it was a book.
There was 2 books.
Two Barack Hussein Obama books. Do you like Barack Obama?
When I started drawing that comic, I was tired of drawing the cute kids in a kind of in that timeless, like it looked like it was just sort of mid 20th century kid comic kind of universe.
Right, like the Lemonheads guy. I always feel like that inspired those Lemon Kids.
Yeah, that was part of it. The Lemon Kids also, it was just like a goof on kids who put like lemon juice in their hair.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Of course not. No, I mean, like it's. I never was explicit about that. It's just whenever something weird kind of, is an inspiration, then I want to just like if it ends up sounding catchy, like the Lemon Kids sounded catchy,
Yeah.
So I just used it. I didn't feel like I needed to explain it to anybody.
There's always your stuff's kind of mysterious in a way. That way, you don't really know what the heck you're reading, but it's fun. So
yeah,
I roll with it.
I think I kind of exist in that space where people are like, "What the hell is he thinking?" And Obama was perfect for that because I wanted to do something that was like that was topical instead of timeless, and there were two of them, and so I did both of his terms. It was a weekly comic, and they're not about Obama or they're not about those people. Oh, they're about me. So that's why they're cute, because I'm cute.
Right. So are you doing Joe Biden now?
No. Now I'm just working on. I took a break from that after. During what happened after Obama.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine that you would just not want to even go there.
I did have a job early on where I was doing like weekly still political comics for a website, and that got really tedious. So it wasn't so much fun. There just wasn't. It didn't have the same kind of. There was no art really to what was going on in the Trump period. It was.
Oh,
it was
yes,
just.
I know.
So there was nothing. I don't know. That would have been really.
That's interesting. I want to use a couple of those in the video, if you don't mind, and show an example of. To see, I would like to see a comic where you've lost your sense of joy, and what it looks like. Seriously, because your stuff is joyful.
Yeah.
Usually.
No, I think I still had fun, but I actually just said I don't want to do any more of these. So that was the end.
No,
of it.
I know. Did Obama ever tweet you or anything?
No, but I know that. Because I think Fantagraphics must have tried at some point to get a quote from somebody over there, but it never panned out. I was told that someone brought a copy of the first book to the White House, but nothing came of that either. Because someone was like a cousin of somebody.
Someone's always a cousin of somebody, man. Go ahead.
Now I'm drawing like a Western comic right now, and a kind of a beachy comic. I wanted to do a comic.
Is the Western comic like historical or is it funny?
It's like a wagon train kind of thing.
It's a fiction.
It'll be funny and it'll be cute because and it'll make people scratch their heads because that's like basically what happens every time.
That's your style. That's your style, man. That's great. They're pretty. I saw some of them, I think, on your Instagram. They're like paintings, right?
Oh, yeah, they're like ink wash and pencils.
All right, speaking of ink wash and pencils, do you have a pencil there that you can use to draw a picture of Dennis Ball? I feel bad asking you, but then I'd feel bad if I didn't ask you.
Got a green pen.
Sweet.
What else do we got? Let's see. Oh, boy. God, you're good looking.
Thank you. My eyes are round like dates. All right. Thank you so much, man. That's fantastic. I appreciate that.
I'll send it to you.
That would be great. Wow. I'll frame that. Seriously. David Weissman, amazing comic artist. Check out his... Can people look at your Western comics yet?
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to post them on Instagram. So it's right. Free. Go look.
I'm putting it in the description below. And thank you so much. I so appreciate you taking the time to explain the story of the record that doesn't exist.
Thanks, Dennis.